Welcome, all of you. I'm lucky here to be interviewing one of the biggest influences for me today. And Mr. Zubin Mehta, who's a personality in himself, specializes in children's theatre, been directing plays since 2003. We'll be shedding light on Zubin sir's journey as a director, as an actor, and yeah, let's get on with it.
Good evening, everyone. Actually, this is first time I'm doing anything like this. I'm almost tempted to say good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the performance of this display. I've never sat and talked, so it'll be tough. Let's see.
So Zubin sir, tell me about how this journey of theatre started for you.
Um, when I was 8 years old when I did my first play as a child actor. So I still remember the name of the play is Mera Ujjadiya Guandi. It was a play on partition. And one day before the show, my dad comes to me and says that "Tu play karna hai?" I said, "Okay, hunda hai." So he said, "Tu aa mere naal." So his friend had a theatre group. So he took me there and they asked me to do a few movements. Go there, pick up this, manje te chad ja, utthe chalang laga. It was a scene of a wedding. And I asked my dad that, "Hey, hunda play, the bada easy hai." So that's where it started. I did that play. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience, to stand on stage, lights, those bass, makeup, the whole vibe, and the audience clapping for you. So the feeling was really good. So unfortunately, I lost my dad the very next year after that. So my mom kept in touch with the director. She kept telling him that please take him whenever there is a role. So in a year, I would do one role as a child actor, and that's till about 2000 2000. I did a lot of roles as child actor, and then I met this great personality called Gusharan Singh. So with him, I started to do theatre seriously. 6 plays a year, 7 plays a year. That's how it started.
Right. So how did you being a child actor, then an actor, and then how did you transit into being a director, and that too for kids, especially, right? That's what you started off.
Before that, I would want to mention one thing, a beautiful memory that I have. So, as a child actor, I had this skill or gift. I would know the whole script uh, by heart. So, whenever there would be an actor, not there for the rehearsal, so I would do his proxy. So, I did a lot of characters, played a lot of characters during the rehearsals. So from there, after that, then I worked with Gulsharan Singh. So his theatre was very leftist, very he would during terrorism times also he would do a play and then he would also decide how to run away from there. So he was a very he did a lot of revolutionary theatre. So I did that with him. I used to travel to villages of Punjab to do plays. We would do a lot of shows. Sometimes we would do 3 shows in a day. One village, second village, third village. And so when I passed my class 12, I got a call from a friend. He said that I used to take this hobby classes in this school called YPS. So would you like to take the classes because I'm leaving? I said, no, how can I? I mean, I almost refused. But I thought maybe let me give it a try because they were paying good money. And I thought I'll buy Adidas shoes and Nike jacket and all of that. So I started to take classes, and initially it was just to make a little pocket money and to just utilize time. I, like any other Indian boy, first I wanted to become a cricketer, then an actor. So that's so then I went to Bombay, and no, before that, then I started to teach at YPS.
Bombay came much later.
Came much later. Before that, I started to take classes, and then the very next year they gave me my first play. Komal Anand ma'am, she was the headmistress, and she said, "Would you want to direct this musical, The Tinderbox?" I still remember I was 19, so I directed this huge musical with 150 performers, with a lot of music, dance, all of that. So then every year they would give me one play to direct.
And have you done anything similar to that sort, like you said, you used to remember all the scripts by heart and used to proxy as actors. Like transiting from the acting part of it to directing, do you have any sort of uh, groundwork that you had done to become an actor, become
See,
a director,
I used to,
or any influences?
like any other child, I used to observe a lot, and for me, it was a very big shift because I was doing Punjabi theatre, and that too a very leftist theatre in which you didn't have to bother much about the aesthetics of theatre.
Is the message that had to get?
Yeah, it had nothing to do with design. It just had to speak loudly, buland awaz and all of that. So from there to understand, because when you direct a play professionally, you need to know so many things: what is sound, what is light, what is costume, what is all of that. And so I started to read a lot of books, and I read a lot of Stanislavski.
Right. So that point was something that was coming to me. Did you start off when you started directing? Was this one of the things that you started with, like keeping Stanislavski's method acting in mind? Was your first?
Not straight away. And I also think that nobody follows one thing. You don't know that what you're following,
Right.
because as you grow up, you keep absorbing a lot of things. You keep watching a lot of things. You keep reading a lot of things. Then your own life experiences. So it's not that I was following Stanislavski, but yeah, he had an influence.
Then tell us about your experience in YPS. How was it? How many plays?
See, for me, it was an extended childhood.
Right.
I, in fact, till now, that's why I feel such a misfit in a lot of places because I haven't got out of that whole vibe of school, children, books, this, that, because I was 18 when I passed out from school. Immediately I was teaching at YPS, and then immediately I started the academy. So I'm with kids all the time from the beginning. So I don't know how life is outside of children in school.
Yeah. How was it jumping college and theatre side by side teaching?
So I did my BCom through correspondence.
Right.
I joined the college, but I left it because I started to teach here. So I did it through correspondence.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the plays that I remember the most that you've done with YPS was Toba Take Sing. Right. Tell us something about that play. That was
So Toba
really
Take Sing
play.
was actually an experience that really made me take direction also seriously. So actually, you all know Manto. Manto, very very powerful writer. So Toba Take Sing is one of his very powerful stories on partition. So Dr. Harish Dhillon was the headmaster of YPS, and he was himself a writer, and he was a very well-read man, very inclined towards literature. So I suggested that, sir, how about Toba Take Sing? He took a long pause, smiled. He said, with this age group, I said, yes, sir. So he said, okay, let's try. It was a beautiful experience. I mean, for me also, now when I read the story again, I know so many more layers that are there to that story. But that time, I was myself a kid, and there were these children, and we were together doing Toba Take Sing. It was sweet, but the production was very, very powerful. These guys really worked very hard.
So after YPS is when Bombay happened, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about the journey. How did you
See, Bombay, you get into theatre, you want to become an actor. I also wanted to become an actor. But I think that time when I was already teaching for 7 years.
You went to be an actor, right?
At the back of my head was that, okay, fine, I'm teaching and I'm getting money, I'm collecting money. You need money in Bombay. This is what I'd heard. So you go to Bombay, you need these many lakhs, and then so that you struggle for so many years and become an actor. So I had started to really enjoy working with children, youngsters, and I think it was a kind of escapism also in a way. I don't know. It was. I mean, I was running away from things and just being with children. So when I went to Bombay, it was a huge change for me. It was a very different world. I was very uncomfortable.
How many?
I was there for around 6-7 months.
All right.
Yeah, not much. So at that very time, I was also reading this book, Alchemist.
Paulo Coelho.
Yeah. So उसमें भी ये होता है कि when he reaches there, he realizes that
Treasures.
where he started from. So then I started to question myself that am I now escaping from this or what is it? That my mind started to tell me go back. Your calling is to be with children, direct and be with youngsters. So, but then I kept questioning myself that maybe I'm just very uncomfortable. So maybe I'm running away. So in between, I got a call again from YPS. They said, "Come director play." I said, "Fine." So I thought I'll just think, and I'll make sure that I'm not just running away because then I would have regret the whole life. And that time Vipassana happened. I went for Vipassana meditation, and after Vipassana, I spent a lot of time with myself, and I thought, no, that's not for me. So I stayed. Then I started. Then I had already left a YPS job. That was the only theatre teacher job in this region. So I thought, what do I do now?
So from teaching it as a hobby, you were doing
They had
full-time
created,
director.
at first it was hobbies, then the annual plays, then they created a post which is still there,
Oh wow.
and which is the only permanent drama teacher post here. That's what I think. And my father.
Coming back from Bombay. Yeah, you did Vipassana and then you.
Yeah. So I thought that then I was very clear that this is not just running away. Because sometimes we just run away from situation, and our comfort zone pulls us back. So when I was sure that it was just not the comfort zone that was pulling me back, I decided, okay, fine, I'm staying here and working with children and with youngsters. So then Wings Theatre Academy happened because I didn't have the job, so I thought I'd start the academy.
So Wings started in which year?
2012.
2012. And you started doing plays with what age group over there? Sir?
So we started right from, I think that time 6 years old.
Right.
And till about 18 years old.
So did Wings also happen as a thing where you wanted kids to come and do theatre as a hobby, or did you want to do like hobby as in like small, just teach children the basics of what drama is, or you had proper productions in mind that this group will end up doing a lot of productions or something?
No. I actually sat down. Luckily, because of my experience at YPS, when I was teaching there for 6 years, I started to make a curriculum.
Okay.
I started to break it down that if you're working on voice, then what all you have to do with it. If you're working on body language, what all you do with it.
Right, the art and the craft, as you
the
say.
craft of it, the art of it, and also that how there's so many theatre exercises and games that generally help kids. It's so giving vent to their bottled up emotions, all of that. So it really worked. Initially, I was not sure. I told the school that let's start it, but I'm not sure people will send it children for theatre classes.
Yeah, so initially it was like sort of a hobby for kids, not like leading up to a production or anything.
No. When we started, we thought that we'll have 8 months of curriculum and 4 months of production.
Oh, okay.
But I told the school that let's try it, but even if we have 7-8 kids, we'll continue for at least a year. That we won't stop that because I was not sure whether in our city people would know what theatre is and send dance classes. People still know. So, but then it worked. Very first month we had around 70 odd, and then for the younger age group, there was madness. People were really impressed with what the classes were doing to children.
Okay. And the first play that you did with Wings was Mother's Day, right?
Yeah.
How did you decide to do that script?
Mother's Day was, it was just the beginning. We wanted to do a little light comedy.
Right.
JP Priestley. So yeah, it just happened.
And how was the process like? It was group C, if I'm not wrong.
Group
right?
C.
Group C.
So we divided children into 3 groups: 6 years to 10 years, then 10 to 14 years, and 14 to 18 years. This way, and every group would do its annual production, which is still the same way now.
Right. So now coming back to the same thing, sir. How do you you have people, you've trained a lot of actors who've not acted before, and how do you go ahead and work on the art and the craft of going ahead and getting somebody to act without them having any sort of background in acting or any other art for that matter?
See, first thing what I do is when students come to me, I generally start a production with a workshop. So my first, if at the end of the day, it's if you're relaxed, you can act. You need stillness to act. So I create an atmosphere. Initially, I just work on creating an atmosphere so that the actors, number one, they feel very comfortable, not conscious. Number two, they feel very happy, excited, childlike. Childlike is the key word. I really make my workshops, I design them in a way that they all feel like children. When we were in school, that we would have an activity period, we would wait for that period and excitedly go. So even for our workshops, you'd see that children, they run, they're really excited to go. So I'd play a lot of theatre games, a lot of theatre exercises, and I start acting very चुपके से. तो मैं उनको भी पता नहीं लगने देता कि कब एक्टिंग शुरू हो गई है.
Elaborate on that a bit.
Yeah. I mean, if you start, okay, let me tell you what acting is. Then their muscles will become very stiff.
Right.
So I believe in creating an atmosphere where first they become very comfortable and they shed their layers and then they start to express.
Well, I've acted with you a lot. Taking my example, how did you get convinced that I could have done a certain role? How much of, let me rephrase the question, is how much willingness as compared to the skill of a person do you gauge when you have to give a certain role?
See, it is very uncomfortable to act.
Right.
I mean, if you'll ask me right now to act, it is very uncomfortable because we all have our own styles, we all have our own body language. The best thing is that when you're sitting and the director just lets you be and doesn't say anything, you're good and you're almost playing yourself. Mm-hmm. You'll see that most of the actors, when they come, they just want to play themselves.
Right.
Whereas many characters are somewhere really, away from your personality. And it is that when you have to shed and withdraw from your own self, that's very uncomfortable initially. So that is where this comes, that how you approach it. So what I do is I divide it into two parts. You all know that acting is physical and psychological. Physical may your voice,
right?
Clarity of words, and then modulation. What is the character's voice. Then you come to body language. How does your character walk? How does your character? What is the pace of your character? We all have different pace. You would sit with somebody, you would know that this person has a very fast pace generally. And this person has a very fast tempo.
Right.
This person is very slow pace. So understanding the pace of your character, understanding how your character walks, the gestures. Then we work a lot on mannerisms. So I really believe that when you give little mannerisms to the character, we all have little queer habits.
Right.
Somebody keeps scratching here, somebody keeps scratching here, somebody has this thing of playing with the
coat or
level of the coat
right.
or any such thing. So I start to give those mannerisms to the actors. कि तुम्हारा character ये करता है, तुम्हारा character. Then I ask them, what is your character's mannerism? Sometimes the actors come with a particular mannerism. So from there you build the physicality of a character. And then the psychology of it, then we do a lot of visualization exercises. And I make them, I work a lot on senses. Bringing back the memory of the senses, touch, smell, and different smells, taste. Sometimes I even give a perfume to an actor that this is your character. So sometimes an actor, connects to a smell. So this way, simultaneously, the physical part of the character and the emotional, psychological part of the character. So we work on the both simultaneously.
So having worked with you for all these years, I've realized your way of handling characters has completely changed. For example, initially you had to tell actors what to do. Now you wait for actors to throw things at you. So how much of it is basically the director and the actor's input in both ways?
Yeah, so over the period of time I've realized that the best thing that you can make your actor do is not simulate the emotion, but you stimulate the emotion for him.
Right.
Or make him stimulate the emotion for himself.
Right.
When you just simulate the emotion, that shows that, I look for honesty. I don't like when you're just doing things for the sake of doing it. Right. We see all that kind of acting everywhere when you're just doing it for the heck of it. Mm-hmm. So I try to stimulate those feelings in them, stimulate those emotions in them.
Right.
And I do it in my way. Sometimes I deliberately, make the actor uncomfortable if I need to get that frustration out of him. Mm-hmm. So Yeah, I strongly believe there is something spiritual about acting if you really do it the way it should be done.
Coming to another question that's always intrigued me while working with you is there have been plays where there have been certain characters I am not able to see in people, but for some reason you see them. And then you say over time they will be able to do it and they will do it. What is that I don't see that you see? Just something that intrigues me.
See, the thing is that I think it's a very bad habit also when you direct, you start to just analyze people
Okay.
and you start to read their physicality and psychology. It happens. I mean, even if you're sitting in a bus or in a train, you start to, अच्छा ये ऐसा ऐसा. Sometimes थोड़ा over भी हो जाता है. So, but yeah, I mean, if I see that, you know, okay, Savan is sitting here, and so sometimes I don't know. It's the instinct. It's the instinct. Okay, he'll be able to do this character.
Yeah.
I think instinct is the word. आप जितना मर्जी plan कर लो paper पे, okay, I'm going to block the play this way, I'm going to make the character this way, all of that. But that last bit which really makes a difference is your instinct.
Okay.
So I think intuitively
So we can easily say that it's a combination of your instinct and the experience.
See, it's yeah. I think art बहुत सारी चीज़ों को आपके life experience, instinct, craft, there's so many things together that you know,
Right.
work.
How do you manage all these plays? Like, especially whenever you have, like, after May, all your schedule is so tight. You have like 3 or 4 plays running simultaneously. First, it was just schools. Now you have Wings Theatre Academy as well. How do you manage all of it? And also, how does your biking and your Vipassana help you with?
See, I have to do these many productions because I want to put diesel in my car. So I have to earn my bread and butter. So I have to do many plays. I would love to do lesser, right? Spend more time on one play, but then that's not the luxury that I have. What did you say?
I said, how do you manage this? For example, why the question, if I focus the question a little more, is like the creativity of the particular way how you direct a certain play might spill into another play. How do you isolate the play that, okay, this is my ideas that I'm going to only reserve for these? These are
no,
my
once you
ideas.
enter a rehearsal room of a particular play, you are in that zone.
Okay, right.
And
So it isn't like
I
one
mean,
of those things.
it's very tough on me because the trend that I've seen that I'm very, very lost and all over the place in the month of January.
Right.
In December, all the plays. And emotionally, it is taxing because, you know, you somewhere, when you're directing, you are also living those characters. So, yes, in fact, I was planning on speaking to somebody who would give me more insight on it because I start to feel very empty in January. Because I have those emotions, those characters with me, and in January it's suddenly out. Okay, what? So I speak to my actors also. They tell me that they feel a vacuum after. You know, when you're living these characters, itni depth mein, then after it's over, you feel that. So it's important to Then over the years I realized that this is, especially for younger actors, it can be risky.
Right.
So then I started to get them back to reality.
Right. So tell us something about, you're an avid biker as well. Tell us about your biking.
छोड़ो इतना biking होती है, you're trying to get that point.
So मेरे को पता करना है, मैं पूछ रहा हूँ, बताओ.
So biking, I mean, it's
मेरी असलियत बाहर आ गई all of a sudden.
let me make it sound very, also it's very meditative. So when you're writing, you're connecting to the sound of the engine.
You have 6 more keywords to go, sir. Meditating.
So
5 more.
No, it is. I think it on a serious note, it does give me a lot of strength. Not biking per se, but yeah, traveling. And bike pe hota hai that even if you're with a group, you're alone. They are a few kilometers behind or ahead. So and then also I feel that Saban would agree with me that you need to experience a lot of life and go through a lot of experiences to create art. So biking gives you very different experiences. I mean, I did Rajasthan ride just now, and when we were riding, along the border, Connaught, Longewala and Monabao, there was something else. I mean, I felt something really out of the world. It's that energy is still there. A lot of artists, they sit and drink or they do other things to going to different dimensions.
Traveling is your drug.
So I do biking. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming, Zubin sir.
Thank you
Thank you,
everyone
thank you.
for coming. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.